This is Askcarterlaw back again with your favorite legal hot topics. Today we will be discussing the Blac Chyna $100 million lawsuit against the Kardashians and Jenners. Let's start with the summary of the case. Blac Chyna, whose real name is Angela White, is suing Kim Kardashian, Khloe Kardashian, Kris Jenner, and Kylie Jenner for false statements allegedly made about her that caused her to lose her reality show, the Rob and Chyna show on E! Her lawsuit is specifically alleging defamation and contract interference with prospective economic advantage. She is suing for a little over $100 million, with $40 million of that being loss of earnings, and then over $60 million in future earnings. So I just want to quickly talk about what she has to prove, because I know a lot of times people get into the nitty-gritty of the salaciousness of the case and the testimony, which we will also talk about. But in terms of the actual law, defamation, so just quickly, it has to be a statement of fact that's false, that's unprivileged, that's published to at least one third party, and that the fault in publishing the statement to that third party at least amounts to negligence. I think Blac Chyna also may even have a case of defamation per se, which means any written statements or oral statements said about her which fall in any of the special categories of defamation per se. For example, if you have a disease, if you committed a criminal act, things that tend to go against your profession, any of those things would automatically not even require any proof of any damages. They would just automatically award it to her. So in this case, allegedly, she was accused of committing a crime via various emails to E! Specifically that she had assaulted Rob Kardashian with a gun and an iPhone cord charger in a fight that they had. So anyway, assuming that didn't happen, obviously that's a false statement. That is a statement that is accusing her of a crime. So that would be defamation per se. And so those are the things that she'll have to prove with whatever evidence she has to support that claim. I want to move on quickly to contract interference, because that's a little more complicated. I think a lot of people are kind of familiar with defamation, especially with everything that happened with Cardi B and the YouTuber, but not as familiar with contract interference. So contract interference in California, a plaintiff like Blac Chyna will have to prove that, she had an economic relationship with a third party, i.e. E! That relationship between her and E! Would likely lead to future benefits, and the defendant, in this case, the Kardashians and the Jenners, she would have to prove that they knew of that relationship and intentionally acted wrongfully in order to interfere with that relationship, and that their actions actually interfered with that relationship, and their actions then ultimately caused Blac Chyna harm. And so obviously, I think if she can prove defamation, then she pretty much has potentially the contract interference claim in the bag. I'll talk about in a few seconds why it may not be in the bag, just because they may have been canceling the show anyway. So if that's proven, then she doesn't necessarily have it in the bag. But setting that aside, if she proves her defamation claim, she would then also be likely to be able to prove her contract interference claim with the show. So that's a summary of the actual facts and the law of the case. We'll move on next to the testimony so far supporting their claims. To follow stories like this, you can continue to follow us on our social media handles at Askcarterlaw or on our website, www.askcarterlaw.com.